A lot of San Francisco 49er fans want to know what they are getting in their first round draft pick of Mykel Williams out of Georgia. You know, you draft this guy in the first round at number 11 overall. What is he going to bring to the table, and how is he going to fit into the 49ers defensive front on the opposite side of Nick Bosa? So, who better to ask than one of his former teammates at Georgia? So, what did I do? I asked Malachi Starks, who was drafted by the Ravens, who is in attendance here at Green Bay, what 49er fans should expect with their newest defensive end. And I think you're going to like what he has to say. Take a listen to what Malachi Starks said that 49er fans should expect from their newest player. Malachi, the San Francisco 49ers drafted one of your teammates, Mykel Williams. What can you tell 49er fans and what they're getting in Mykel?
Mykel's that guy. He's special, man. And the 49ers saw it in him, and you can expect, the same things he was doing at the University of Georgia. I mean, he's going to come to work every day, and he's going to, stay true to himself, and he's going to compete at the end of the day at the highest level. So that's what you can expect from him.
There's a couple things that I really like of what Malachi Starks said about Mykel Williams. But the first thing that I want to notice and pay attention to is how he completely lit up when I had brought up that Mykel had been drafted by the San Francisco 49ers. One of the things that I have noticed in kind of doing this for a while now and having the opportunity to speak to players is when you bring up their teammates, what are their reactions? I think of talking to Tet McMillan the other day, asking him about Jacob Cowing, and he just started giggling because he loved Jacob so much and just had so many glowing things to say. You just see it. He just completely lit up. It's almost like he even got a little bit lighter to kind of, talk about one of his teammates. And one of the things that stood out to me the most about what Malachi said was that he said Mykel is special. And he's really happy that the 49ers saw that in him. And I think when 49er fans right now are trying to assess the pick, assess how he fits, I think there is a bit of an understanding of what he brings to the table and how the 49ers plan to implement him into their defensive front that is going to be across from Nick Bosa in the wide nine scheme. It really comes down to this. Yes, Malik, Mykel, there we go, might not be your prototypical pass rusher, but what he brings to the table is his ability to set the edge in the run game. And I want to kind of point to how important that is and how the 49ers have actually been lacking at this for a while now. We have seen the 49ers try to fill this hole for a couple years now. Go back to when they traded for Chase Young out of Washington, even Randy Gregory out of Denver. They added Leonard Floyd and Yetur Gross Matos. Honestly, the 49ers haven't had a solid edge setter on the opposite side of Nick Bosa since Cleveland Farrell. And I think 49er fans really kind of understood that importance that Farrell brought to the table when he got injured in that playoff run. The 49ers run game, their defense against the run game really struggled when Cleveland Farrell went out because they didn't have that edge setter. And as a result of that, it puts the 49ers defense in bad spots, bad places, right? Because if you're getting gashed on first and second down, you're not getting to third down. You're not getting to those opportunities to get after the passer, right? Yes, does everyone want that shiny pass rusher who's going to come off the edge and sack the quarterback, especially with the league shifting to being more of a downfield passing type offensive game? Of course, we want that. But you have to get to that point. You have to get to third down. And if you're not stopping the run on first and second downs, you're never going to get that opportunity because you're just going to get gashed in the run game. You're going to start getting hit with play actions and boots and all these different types of things. And you're going to be put in a spot that isn't where you want to be as a defense. And I think that's where we have seen the 49ers defense, especially last year. The inability to stop the run has been a huge issue, and it trickles down to other parts of the game, and it impacts the offense. It impacts, you know, the defense being able to get off the field. There's so many different elements to this. Yes, we like sacking the quarterback. We like those splash plays, but again, you have to earn that opportunity. And if you aren't stopping the run, you will not earn that opportunity. So this is how I rationalize it, especially after listening to John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan talk about it. Because it effectively comes down to that they needed this. And I agree, they did. I do like this. To me, when you start to rationalize that he is going to be an edge setter, he is going to be a guy who is going to be a base down, first and second down player on the edge, and he can develop into a three down guy who can rush the passer. He has the traits. He has the long arms. He's 6'5, 265. He has the traits, and he's only 20 years old. So he only has more time to continue to refine and develop those abilities as a pass rusher. But as he is right now, he is going to be a fantastic edge setter in the run game, and the 49ers need that. The other thing that I really liked about what Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch had to say about the pick is that he can kick inside and he can rush the passer over the guard. And so, again, I've mentioned this previously, but this has got me thinking now, well, this is definitely going to open up the door for the 49ers to go after a situational type pass rusher. I think of guys like Femi Oladejo. I think of guys like David Walker, guys that can just come screaming off the edge in certain packages in certain situations. Tyler Barron out of Miami. There's a bunch of guys who's going to be in kind of that middle round that you can pluck and you can complement with Mykel Williams. So again, after kind of being split, because I'm thinking pass rush, pass rush, pass rush, when you take a step back and you realize the plan and you realize the logic that is involved, it starts to make a lot more sense. And the fact that Mykel was a little bit banged up last year, playing on an ankle injury, he didn't play a whole lot of snaps, and the stat sheet reflected that. Get him healthy, get him in the scheme, get him the opportunity to make some plays. And hey, man, a 20-year-old who has played significant snaps the last 3 years in the SEC, I think he can provide exactly what the San Francisco 49ers third down situations, and you kick this guy in over the guard and you use those long arms, because that is a huge mismatch, because interior offensive linemen have what? Typically shorter arms in the 32-inch range. He has 34-inch arms. That is a pretty big advantage right there. And with his speed, with his power and his speed, it would be an immediate mismatch on the interior from a pass rushing situation. So I do think it makes a lot of sense for the 49ers to continue to look at additional defensive tackles, but again, also specific pass rushing specialists that you can just you just let the dogs eat. So I have really grown to like this pick a lot better than how I initially viewed it, right? Because I'm like, this guy doesn't strike me as a pass rusher. I wouldn't say he is. He can develop into that. But as it stands right now, this is a guy who's going to be on the field in first and second down, and that is huge. That is going to make a huge impact for this team. And I am starting to get really excited, because now you start to think of how the 49ers can utilize these next 10 picks to help continue to build this defense and get it back to a spot where they want to be. So I can understand why John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan were really, really excited about this pick. I'm curious to know what you guys think about this, what you thought about what Malachi Starks had to say, and have you kind of come around? I know a lot of people didn't like this pick initially, but once you start to realize where he fits into this puzzle piece, does it start to make a little bit more sense for you? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, make sure to like and subscribe for more updates.